we'll
I
have
need
a-
to, we just went, just as a reminder, we just went live on YouTube, and I'm gonna share my screen so that
Okay.
we can get started. I'm sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry, guys. So, Miss Bailey,
Here.
I'm sorry, I should have asked if you want me to go ahead and call the
Yeah,
roll.
please call the roll.
Dr. Cable,
Present.
Ms. Coleman,
Present.
Dr. Davis, Dr. Henderson, Miss Lawson,
Present.
Miss Lazard Talbert, Miss Merrick, Mr. Powell, and Mr. Taylor Gerald.
Here. All right.
We have 5 present, which does not represent a quorum.
So we'll need to go into,
We'll
And
go
is-
into,
so can we, who are we appointing to the, I forget from the last time.
you'd be appointing,
It's in the minutes. Who
Yeah,
we're
it's,
appointing whoever else is on here.
correct. Well, you'll be appointing Miss Bailey.
Ms. Cable?
Yes, I think it's Miss Bailey, Dr. Cable, and Mr. Kevin, because Christy and you are already on the executive.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so thank you all for accepting your appointment this morning. And we're moving, this is certification for the virtual meeting. And do we need to check in with anybody here? Public comments? Is that where we are now? Andrew, do we have anybody that?
None yet.
None yet, okay. All right, introductions and announcements.
We do have a couple. We have new employee on today, and Paula Smith is going to take care of that. And then I have some new leadership announcements to make.
All right,
Good morning. We have a new employee joining the Scholarship and Grant Division. Her name is KRISTIN Brandon. Her main duties will be assisting students with continuing eligibility. She comes to our office from LSU Baton Rouge campus, where she was a financial aid counselor. We'd just like to say welcome to our
Yes.
team.
welcome.
Kristen.
Welcome, Christian. Great photo. And next, what do we have?
Next, I wanted to let everybody know that some sad news for LOSFA, but great news for the employee, Dr. Brittany Francis, who was also, of course, the director of PIC Comms, has departed. She has an exciting career opportunity with Complete College America, and wanted to give a huge shout out to Ebony Holmes and Shane Propel, because they will be, or they have assumed co-leadership of the unit. And then we have some additional new employees. So I will turn it over to Mr. Deloach.
Good morning. We have a new auditor in our audit division. Her name is KENEDRA Burton. She comes to us from the Department of Correction with 11 years of experience, and she will be assisting and leading compliance reviews for the high school and post-secondary institutions. So we would like to welcome KENEDRA Burton to the LOSFA staff and to the LOSFA team.
All right, welcome. Okay, next we have approval of the minutes from the November 10th meeting. They were sent to you previously. Hope you've had a chance to read them. And if so, can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
This is Barry. I motion for acceptance of the minutes.
All right, thank you, Barry. I need a second.
This is Amy, I second.
Good job. Thank you, Amy. All right, all those in favor of the approval of the minutes, please say aye.
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 Good, we're, all right. And next we have, as the screen moves, public comments. Andrew, anybody yet wanting to say anything?
I think I'm sorry, Ms. Coleman, I think I had that out of order today. I don't know why, but.
No, no, it's probably in the
Okay.
same, I just trying to do two different, trying to read the printed version and look at the PowerPoint at the same time. So, but nobody wants to say anything today yet. Is that so?
Correct.
We're safe. Well, okay. Thank you. Now we move to the program updates, and first of the, let that get a chance to get on your screen.
And I just want to say, I think Ms. Talbert has joined us, so that does establish a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, first program update. We'll let Ms. Underwood do work her magic here this morning.
Good morning, everyone. START Programs has just finished our year end, which has been extremely busy. We just completed our end of the year posting this week. For the month of December, START Programs processed $23.1 million in deposits, as well as $12.7 million in disbursements. The figures that you see on the screen now are our November month figures. So of course, our December figures in our next meeting. 22 is an exciting year for us in START. Our ABLE account owners can now receive $16,000 per year in deposits due to the increase in the annual gift tax exclusion. So they're excited about that. Also, for our K-12 account owners for 22, they can now claim $1,200 in deposits as a single filer and $2,400 in deposits as a joint filer on their state income tax as a deduction to income. So we're very excited about that for them. And that concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
No, but I would just like to say, and this is not, I play pickleball with a lot of grandparents like myself. I'm sorry. And so many of them say, well, I'm going to do this. I need to start this thing. And I say, well, you need to look into this. And they say, oh yeah, that's really great. I don't know. It's just, people just don't think about doing this. They think about saving for their grandchildren, but they don't think about, the START savings program. And I know the others one, the K-12 and the ABLE plan, that has its own great group of promoters, but they were quite excited. And I said, well, here, go here and look here. But I'm just amazed because I know that this is probably the best plan in the nation as far as.
Oh, absolutely, for Louisiana residents. So we depend on folks like you, Ms. Coleman, to push the program, that word of mouth.
Yeah, those of us who aren't working and play pickleball, but it's really, and I had my son look at this for my 3 grandchildren, and he said, oh no, this is really good. You can put more money into this, Mom, even though you may not get the tax break. Go ahead and put more money into it because we do so well.
Right, absolutely.
So thank you all. Anybody else have any comments or questions on the savings programs? All right, and next is the public information and communications update, Ms. Holmes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get started. You can advance the slide, Rhonda. Thank you. So we are almost at 2,000 virtual office hours. We started these in March of 2020, as you well know, and they've really taken off. Students and parents have spoken to basically how much they appreciate the virtual office hours that we now have available. We have done a total of 1,959 virtual office hours to date. You can see the majority of them are going to be split between TOPS initial eligibility and TOPS retention. We also have conducted a total of 697 virtual events to date. And then as far as professional development, in the end of kind of November, December, we've done some professional development through NCAN and also through Federal Student Aid Outreach. Next. Next slide. Oh, thank you. And we normally do send out ACT reminders on our social media sites just to let students know, hey, this is the registration date is approaching, the significance of that date in respect to TOPS. What we have also started to do to kind of help students and parents with that process is to post tips along with that ACT reminder. So basically, kind of letting them know what to expect when you register. In addition to that, as we go throughout the months and the weeks, we also have scheduled additional tips that are going to be posted to our social media site just to kind of help ease that process along and facilitate that process to make sure they're able to register and kind of have a seamless process. With the SACAC, which is the Southern Association for College Admission Counseling, I was actually invited to present and represent LOSFA. And so I did provide TOPS updates to that audience. There were 31 counselors present. We will also be sharing with our public counselors that SACAC is going to be, they recently announced that they're going to be having free membership for those individuals. So certainly we want to share that information with our counselors so they can use this great resource. Next. Thank you. We did have a few events going on. A lot of them focused around post-secondary event. We had some preview days at LSUE and also at Nichols. Our public information officer, Mr. Scott Burke, he did a series of TOPS retention seminars with LSU. Next slide, Rhonda. Thank you. And then we've also had some events with BRCC. So in conjunction with TRIO at BRCC, we did the first gen student celebration and resource. And then also with BRCC, there was the career and technical education day. So those are, most of our events for the last month, December, as things kind of wind down for high schools, but we've still been active with post-secondary institutions. That is all that I have. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I don't know, this may be for you and maybe for Christy. On the virtual office hours, do we have, I assume we do, we have places in the state where that's just not possible in the where we still don't have people don't have the broadband access. And I don't know how, Christy, do you have any experience with that with kids? Because that's a great thing, but I just don't know how they do it. If they have to go to someplace else to get enough time, or do they just do it? Do you ever get any comments or questions about that? I guess that would be my question.
I mean, most of the time my students they'll find a way. Like if they have to go to a friend's house, a relative's house,
Okay.
I mean, if it's important to them, that they're just having to adjust, or it just doesn't get done. One of those two options, until they're back on campus.
Yes, I would.
And so.
Hey, and this is Tarika Cobb. So one of the things that we've done as well, working with our Connected Success partners, the post-secondary partners, is we've actually provided Wi-Fi services to students once we identify them if they're participating in our program. So that's something else that we've actually done to meet that digital divide. We've also done that with technology as well, especially now, with COVID in those rural places. One of the things that we've found out is there's a lot of challenges that go into using Chromebooks, because a lot of times in our school systems that are one-to-one with computers, they're using Chromebooks. So depending on what type of, what they're trying to access, whether it's the FAFSA or another electronic resource, sometimes there's challenges. So we've even looked into making sure that they have the device that can actually work with what we're doing with them. For example, there was a summer program that we did through Grambling. In cybersecurity, we had to actually have a special piece of technology, a special laptop to give to those students. So that's kind of like what we've tried to do for students that we know were engaging with our programs and needed that additional support.
Thank you. That's amazing. And if the opportunity should ever arise, if you run into, I'm sure that Senator Beth Mizell would really like to know and would welcome knowing these extra things that are being done, because getting this broadband is her big push, and she's working on that. But I just didn't realize, how you can supply the technical support and help them get the Wi-Fi if they don't. So thank you very much, Dr. Cobb. Anybody else have any questions or comments on that?
I do, to follow up on what Dr. Cobb was saying, the way that our virtual office hours are set up, if they have Zoom on their cell phones, they can either go through the Zoom app, or there's a phone number where they can just call in.
Okay. I was just wondering, because I know you try to encourage parents to be involved too, and sometimes those things aren't gonna mesh. The students, as Christy said, can maybe are easier to do a workaround. But thank you. These are all important things. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Next is what, student engagement, please? Is that correct?
Yes, Happy New Year again to everyone. If you can proceed to the next slide, please. From student engagement, we took this month's update with the angle of sharing the work product that this newest division of LOSFA has created since its inception in May. I definitely want to highlight that prior to having established a full division devoted purely to engaging with students from across the spectrum at all levels, the work that we were doing through our student network groups had already was on its way to becoming a proof of concept, right? So that started in the summer of 2020 with myself then as a contract social worker, one contract person, and 2 volunteer LOSFA employees, both of them out of LFOS. And so from that point on, we saw where the numbers that we were serving since the student engagement division came about, as you see reflected on this screen, we were showing definitely the numbers of individual network group membership per the 3 disciplines that we are focusing on, accounting and engineering and nursing. So you see those numbers there. These are numbers for in totality from 2021. So a lot of the students that we had already connected and engaged with in 2020, by having a unit fully devoted to that, it allowed for increased opportunities to engage with the students and to grow the groups. We also want to highlight that we delivered in the number of orientation sessions that we've had. We've reached 147 new students that were oriented just since May. From May, this period covers May through December. Also shown is the numbers of events that we had. Those numbers are purely inclusive of our network group meetings, the number of orientations, and we were able to do our first outreach virtual event with the apprentice workshop there. So as you continue clockwise, you'll see our aggregate from May till December is 523. That number does not include what impact, what reach we may have had in collaboration and partnership with other LOSFA divisions. Those numbers are going to be reported from them there. What I chose to do this pie chart configuration so you can see in color code, you see where the implication therein lies, that as we first strive to do things in the digital space that COVID has shared, we saw the implications that are there as we continue to grow, the exponential amount of reach that can happen, as already reflected in our number of orientations, the number of students that we oriented, the number of served. Again, the digital engagement piece speaks to how we're connecting, not just in person, but through various digital platforms where folks are accessing our documents, accessing our tools, accessing our resources, particularly through platforms such as Ignite there. So I definitely just want to kind of highlight what we had done in the 7 months of 2021, where we realized a fully established unit. And so in 2022, as we move forward, the landscape there, it continues. The territories uncharted remain. And so knowing that part of this engagement work is not just seeing students access higher ed, but providing them with the wraparound supports, the services, so that they can succeed and complete. So we do so celebrating. At the bottom left corner of the same slide, you see that we have featured 3 of our nursing students that we were excited to walk through their final semesters with. They were all active participants in our network group, and we were able to celebrate that. And so those students, seeing the engagement process unfold, welcoming the concept, making full use of what we provide through our student engagement unit and the division and our network groups. So we're looking to see, we're already targeting and identifying other students in our other network groups that are completing for the spring semester. So just to share the work that has gone forth thus far. Next slide, Rhonda, please. As we shift into our year 2022, we have already published and made available our calendars for the respective groups that we have. Again, feeding off what the students are telling us, taking leadership from what they're saying their needs are. We, I think, have invited some awesome professionals from those respective fields of accounting, of engineering, of nursing. And so that calendar has become almost our landing page tool so that students can see what to expect in the months ahead as they continue their participation in the network groups. The last slide I have, Ron, if you can again transition to that one, we are excited to announce the launch of our newest network group, which will unfold during this current month of January, something that birthed out of our partnership with the LHC group, of which they have already availed their staffing, their employees to support the work of our network groups. We have one already scheduled to present in several sessions, but also other partnerships that we are forming with employers within the IT CIS field, such as SparkHound. Again, as we found work for us in identifying students where we're taking our orientations directly to those respective post-secondary institutions. We have an upcoming orientation geared just toward NSU's program, ITCIS program, because of the relationship we already have with them, their expressed interest. And so we're going to be onboarding the bulk of our initial membership of those students in this newest group through Northwestern State University, but replicating that orientation process on other campuses as well. So excited that we're adding this 4th component of our network groups. Of course, we have others that we have projected out for 2022 that we will keep you abreast of. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you very much. Very exciting.
Thank you.
Next, we have the, I think it's Dr. Cobb, the Field Outreach Services.
Yes, ma'am. Next slide, Rhonda, please. So in our outreach update this month, first off, we have an update of events, and these are from EBR schools. So our regional coordinators who actually work with the EBR area have been doing a really great job of engaging with schools in this area. And these are 3 highlights. The first one with Tara High School. Our the parent liaison, Ms. Carol Ware, she is like dynamic at Tara High School. This is one of the events that she did. It was really neat, innovative, cocoa, coffee, and college. So this was an event that she did around the holidays, which was really, really cute, really great, to sit down and just really have a talk about college with parents and students. So, just really, it never ceased to amaze me how she is actually engaging parents in that community Terra High School. So that actually happened. Southeast Middle, we have another dynamic coordinator there working in the school. And we've been working with the schools for several years and making sure that the middle schoolers transition smoothly into the high schools, because we support Southeast Middle, but we also support these 3 high schools that the actual middle schoolers were able to attend. And they actually participated in these STEM transition programs at the schools. And these are some of the quotes from the students. This is very important. So as these students actually matriculate over, they know that we're working with them in middle school, but they're also connecting with the magnet program, but they're also seeing the connection that we're still there supporting them in all things college and career readiness. So that's at Southeast Middle. And I do want to say that one of the things that we're doing is making sure that as we provide technical assistance of implementing college and career readiness services, we're really reaching back to those that are in the buildings, like Doris Ferris, who's at Southeast Middle. She'll actually be doing some technical assistance training for some of our other schools next week, so that they can actually learn from people who've been doing it for a while of how they can implement the same strategies in their building. And also on this slide, Liberty High School. One of the things that we try to be really intentional with when we're doing LCAM, or Louisiana College Application and Access Month activities, helping students to complete college applications, we want to make sure that they understand not just complete college application, but very intentional with those college applications actually having, they actually know that their program of study is there at that institution. So what we do is we do cross-curricular activities, and our regional coordinators do a great job with that, so that they're intentional with going through the 5-point match in terms of how to connect with the college that's right for them. So wanted to highlight that as well. Next slide, Rhonda, please. On this next slide, we are going over the Chafee campaign. This is the second year we've done this campaign with making sure that students who actually selected yes on question number 52 on the FAFSA. And I want to definitely give a shout out to Deborah Paul, because she is the one who really recommended that to us, to say, hey, if we're trying to do an awareness campaign on students who may qualify for Chafee, why not use that indicator on the FAFSA? And that particular question asks if they're one of basically 3 things: if their parents were deceased since the age 13, they were in foster care, or if they were a dependent or a ward of the court. So I say that because we may see an open rate of 30.8%, but we sent it to every student who actually met the age requirements for Chafee, and who actually checked yes to that particular question. And all of them may not have been foster youth, but those who were, they did get the information that, hey, this is an award you may qualify for. Wow. And they know how to connect to our office. So making sure that they had that information. These are in the middle, these resource highlights. These are 2 of the actual newsletters that we send out to students. We sent a December newsletter out to over 7,000 juniors and seniors. Again, we sent this out, and we see that open rate there, but this is not the only way we're communicating with them. We're doing through text messages as well. So we're trying to engage with them in more than one way. And the Early Readiness Insider, we sent that out. That's a resource that has all kinds of technical assistance, upcoming workshops, information from our office, highlights for college and career readiness professionals who work with our program. So Darren Smith is very instrumental on that resource. And Brian Cook, he's one of our newest members in public information and engagement. He actually works on the upperclassmen now. Want to make sure that I give a shout out to them. And on the right side of the screen, we introduced the Claim Your Future resource earlier last fall about a game. So there's 2 parts to this. There's an online game where students can either be assigned a career and then go through a game to say, okay, the game is to pay all your bills and, find your career, pay all your bills and still have, some money left. And so, and it helps them, realistically understand, look, I have to pay back my loan debt. I have to have, my medical bills paid and all of that. And depending on your career, it depends on how much money you make. So it's in two parts, meaning it's online, and it's also we have the actual physical games as well. These stats come from the online games. So just wanted to show you all that they are using it. And what I am hearing from our regional coordinators who work on this, we have some students who have gone back to actually change the career because they're seeing that it's not making the money that they thought, that they're running out, so definitely, it's definitely a win-win situation with the students. Next slide, please. So finally, we just wanted to update on the FAFSA campaign. We are currently number 19 in the nation at 30.2%. And compared to last year, we were number 21 at this time at 27.6%. So we're a little bit ahead of where we were last year. So we're thankful for that. So just trying to make sure that, as Ebony said earlier in her update, doing those events, engaging with online events, and we're doing some in-person events with FAFSA to make sure that we can get those FAFSAs not only submitted, but also completed. Want to give a big shout out to Jewel M. Sumner High School. So Ms. Lawson, want to shout out, they're at the top of this FAFSA pilot. We still are tracking these FAFSA pilot schools for 2022. They're at 90%. So this is like, wow. The nation is at 30.2%. Jewel M. Sumner is at 90%. And so as you can see here, our schools are doing a really great job in getting these FAFSAs done early. We want them to get them done early. So that's what I have. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Questions or comments to Dr. Cobb?
Thank you, Dr. Cobb, for the shout out. But I also want to talk about, y'all send an auto-generated email now with errors for students. And that has been very helpful with like 3 of my students, because we get the report weekly from you guys, and then, being able to tell them, hey, you have an error. And then they get it from that direction. So they come to me. So that has helped tremendously. And I want to say this, it has been a challenge, but last year when y'all introduced the idea of trying to have everything completed by February 1st, it was a first year for me. And then this year, having that experience last year has just encouraged me with my students. And I think the most beneficial thing has been explaining to our students why it's important. And it's not just Pell grant that's there, it's other scholarships like TOPS Tech, and Go Grant, and other scholarships and grants that are associated with it. And then telling them that they have at least 1 full year to claim the top scholarship has been helpful, because I think sometimes students are burnt out, especially in the last 2 years of our lives. And so I have not done this by myself. I have a group that comes in on Thursdays from Career Compass. And so I need to give a little bit of a shout out to Miss Chelsea and Miss Lorna, who have been helpful as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize. No. I was going to say that in our office, so 2 things. So shout out to the IT team who actually generate the reports as a part of the FAFSA completion project. I know legal works really closely to make sure that those authorized requesters stay up to date. So definitely our legal team and our IT team, but most importantly, a big shout out to our PIC Comms team, because they are the ones who have a system in place to make sure that they're following up on those errors on those FAFSAs and making sure that they're reaching out with, to determine, okay, so, make sure you get these errors taken care of so that it does not hinder the TOPS process. So just want to make sure that, that behind the scenes information is noted. Thank you.
No, and my thanks to you, and I don't think I can even truly begin to comprehend all of the changes that have had to go through for this, and how everybody is adapting and managing and still supporting their students and all of that. And I think you all are owed a great shout out. And next we have the, is that it? Any other comments? Scholarships and grants, Ms. Paul.
Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. First slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. I'll start off with the Bessie tuition for teachers billing update. We only had two, recipients for the fall 2021 semester, and those payments were processed for $1,274.98 as indicated on the screen. Very, very pleased to report that our schools are making great use of the additional allocations with the Gold Grant program.
That's great.
As we know, we had an increase of over $10 million for this current academic year. And we had $40 million, $40.4 million in the program. And we've used just about half of that. So the remaining allocation is $20.8 million, which we certainly expect to use during the spring 22 semester. The colleges can start billing for Gold Grant after the 15th class day. Next screen. Our John R. Justice update, which is for attorneys who work as public defenders and prosecutors in the public sector. We have one remaining disbursement to make on the public defender side, and the prosecutors have all been completed. So we're working with this public defender because he is the last remaining applicant. And if he does not turn in his documentation by the new extension, what we've done in the past is we'll take that remaining award and disperse it among the 4 eligible defenders who are already granted an award. With our Go Youth Challenge grant program, these are for students who completed the YCP program with the National Guard. We had 8 recipients at 6 schools for an amount of $16,550. And these students can attend any 2 or 4 years public school and major in a program that will lead to a 3, 4, or 5-star job as indicated by the Louisiana Workforce Commission. And those students have 2 years to receive that that award. Are there any questions about our programs?
Oh, great. And I'm pleased to hear that the Go Grant increase is being used.
Yes,
well.
we are too.
Okay, next we have the TOPS update. Brett, Mr. Hunt.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
The TOPS projection is currently showing a 2% decrease when compared to this point last year. We're researching the data to find possible reasons, but every conversation about this has to start with overall enrollment. The national enrollment is estimated to be about a 2.7% decline from fall 2020 to fall 2021. And the preliminary state estimates also show about a 2.6% decline in overall enrollment. And the TOPS numbers reflect that. So we're doing a deep dive into the data to see if there's anything that LOSFA can do to help make sure that doesn't become a trend. Right now, we're treating it like a blip. This seems to be a bit of an outlier year. Southeastern, for example, has had great growth for the past 4 or 5 years in a row. Suddenly, they have a 12% decrease in TOPS billings. ULL has had up and down years, but they've never had $1 million less in TOPS billings like they had this year. So it seems to be an outlier year. There's no data that's really specific saying this is the reason. But we are doing that deep dive right now. And if there's anything that we find that's reportable, we'll let you know next month, because we're supposed to actually come up with a report in the next couple of weeks for Board of Regents.
Thank you. That's interesting. Maybe somebody that works in higher ed, or is this, would you say that what this means is that we have fewer applicants or whatever, fewer people participating in the TOPS program?
the incoming class in general enrollment was less this year.
Yeah.
And the new TOPS recipients are also showing an offsetting decrease. So yeah, that's a real number.
Yeah, and that, I think that's following national trends. I know that's
It
getting
is.
a lot of play right now in the higher education publications. So
Our state enrollment decline is almost exactly the preliminary national enrollment decline. It's almost exact. Yeah.
yeah. Any other comments, questions? Anybody else want to add anything to that? All right, thank you very much. Next is, I can't roll the executive director's update. Is that correct? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And next slide, Rhonda. Wanted to try to keep you informed as to the Board of Regents committees that they are doing in alignment with their master plan. We are very much watching this at LOSFA and seeing how we can make sure we align our work with the alignment of the master plan and with the alignment of the direction that the commissioner and the board want to go with respect to student success. I think all of the things, the great work that you've heard today, compilation of great work that our staff's doing, we are really, really working hard at developing a continuum of services. As most of you know that have been with us a long time, LOSFA's most known for its work in the secondary field. So that middle to secondary, working on making sure students know what they have to do to attain TOPS, and then working with those TOPS recipients as they are in higher ed to be able to keep it. However, there's a much broader world out there of those individuals that need services. And this report is yet another reminder. We are tasked with serving, as you see, Board of Regents divided into 3 committees with their Student Success Council. This council meets quarterly, and basically their job is to be able to look at identifying the trends and obstacles with respect to enrollment, attainment, and success in that enrollment and attainment, and to be able to look at solutions. So as the commissioner says, we're not just admiring a problem. They divided themselves into 3 committees, which also we began to look at where are we on providing services to statewide populations, whether regardless of zip code, regardless of income, in these 3 areas. Access to success. I would say LOSFA is pretty strong in our secondary access, right? But continuing students and completers, a lot of work that we have to do there. We do the payment side, but on the college advising and coaching side, a lot of work that we have to develop and expand to make sure that we're not just focusing on students that are TOPS recipients, but we're focusing on TOPS as well as non-TOPS students that are in post-secondary. Then lastly, that focus on adults. Again, adults can be subdivided into 8 to 10 categories, both traditional and non-traditional adults. So again, new horizons there for LOSFA on the access and the advising side, even though you can see by the reports from Ms. Paul that we already do things on the funding side for adults, but we have to make our work match and be complete on the advising and coaching and information side. So very much where we're trying to go with all of our divisions is making sure we're breaking down silos or not allowing them to form. You heard a lot of cross credit given by division directors today. That is the change that we want to continue to grow and see, because it's going to take that to be able to say, if we're being asked to serve 3 disparate audiences with the same staff and the same money, you've got to work smarter because everybody's already working hard as to how you do that and do that on a statewide basis. So, you've got basically 1/3 when you're talking about the great work in secondary, but you've got 2/3 out there that you've got to expand your capacity. Next slide. The work of those subcommittees that you saw, the access, the continuation, completion, and the focus on adults, also morphed into some different themes. So they begin to get some overlapping themes of areas that the Board of Regents wants to concentrate on. And they have asked LOSFA to make sure that we have representation or point persons that are involved with those working groups. We really, as you said, Ms. Coleman, before, have to continue to work not only with the general public, but definitely with our stakeholders on the fact that this is the great work that we are doing. Not only how many students we are serving, but we are working, as you saw with the Bella presentation, on but what outcomes are associated with that great work besides how many people you serve, but what happened differently in the lives of those students, because that's the only way we'll be able to justify additional dollars to be able to support expansion of this work. So next slide, Rhonda, and then you get into those areas. Basically, the Student Success Council honed out of the 3 different working groups into topics, and those topics are on the screen. Affordability, of course, is a huge topic in and of itself and spans all of those audiences that I previously mentioned. Math pathways, because again, we know when looking at students that have difficulty with preparation, that math is a universal game changer for students in being able to accomplish and succeed and be prepared. Best practices in advising. You can see here that we can't just focus on secondary counselor advising. We have to also focus on post-secondary counselors as well, and individuals that work with that broad array of audiences, both traditional and non-traditional adults. And how do we get those best practices, not just on our website and in our publications, but out into the hands of people that are working with students. And then supporting adult learners. Again, we said that that is a huge audience in and of itself. We're learning a lot about that, and we'll continue to learn about that as we work on the completers pilot with those discretionary temporary dollars, which could set up, right, the capacity for a potential permanent funding source for that. Permanent in air quotes in government, as well as the MJ Foster Promise Program, which is getting ready to launch this next year. Again, a lot to learn. It's going to take all of us collectively cross-informing each other to be able to support this great work. We did include a link for you to the entire Student Success Council report, but we have also been asked by the Board of Regents statewide Programs Committee Chair, former legislator Randy Ewing, to be able to present about the work that we do at each of the statewide programs committees. Normally that's just rule changes and exceptions, but he's asked that specifically in the areas of curriculum and affordability, that we help to educate the board on the things that are being done in those particular areas. This is an amazing opportunity to be able to educate stakeholders. So we have our team brainstorming on, okay, what are we doing? What initiatives and collaboratives do we want to feature for his consideration, and what results and both qualitatively and quantitatively do we want to present? Again, aligning, making sure that policymakers know that this is work aligned with master plans and initiatives that they've approved. I think that does it, Rhonda. Is there another slide for adults? Okay, that does. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we move to old business, and Robin, do you want to, I think it's just, if I remember trying to pull up my printed copy here, that's just the, so there we go, the final rulemaking that the board consider publication of the final rules to amend the sections as listed, and that information was included in your packet, the text version, more of the text version. Does anybody have any questions? All right, if there are no questions, then we need a motion to approve the publication of the final rule making here. May I have a motion, please?
This is Barry, I motion.
Thank you, Barry, and thank you for telling us who you are when you make those motions. All right, a second, please.
This is Amy.
Charmaine Talbot, I'll second.
Thank you, Charmaine. We got it. We're good here now. All right. All those, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. We have that taken care of. And next is the top exceptional circumstances. And I am just always very pleased when these come forward now to see that because the staff was so proactive, the numbers of things that they can take care of now in-house have just tremendously increased, and we're getting so few to come to our board, and that means so few or less that comes also to the Board of Regents. That information was also included in your packet, and I think it was one of them I did have a question, and my question was basically one of them was out quite a while. Oh, the young lady with the cosmetology, and I just wondered what she has been doing in the meantime. I mean, these students get caught and things just don't work out on their timelines. And then the second one was really a story of something that I think we forget happens too often, and what's the after effects are the post-traumatic stress disorder. So does anybody have any other questions other than mine? Comments, any discussion? And the staff has recommended these be approved. So may I have a motion to approve these?
This is Christy. I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Christy. A second, please.
This is
Amy,
Barry.
I
I second.
We are good. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve these exceptions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, good, thank you.
And
Anyone from the public want to say something? Oh,
We don't have any comments.
no comments? And I think that concludes, except we will, and I wish you all a happy new year to continuing on, and thank you for all that you do. You are clearly the staff and the people, the boots on the ground and the campuses, and whether they're K-12 or they're higher education. I don't think people realize how engaged you are and how you have really helped kept all this together. You are the center that holds this all together for so many students and their parents. So thank you all. With that being said, can I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Amy. I motion to adjourn.
There you go, Amy. Thank you. Without you, we couldn't leave. And is there a second?
It's Christy. I'll second.
All right. Thank you, Christy. All right. With that, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.